4.4.3 today. Yep. And then you guys will be doing closure on Monday. I won't be here, but you will be doing closure on your own. So that the sub doesn't really have to do anything with you. But today, I do not. Because I switched it from a half day to a whole day, so it might change. So even if I look it up, it might not be that person. So I don't even want to tell you who it may or may not be. So that did not do what I expected it to. We know how to do a lot with circles. That's writing.
I know how to make lines.
Thank you very much. So if we think about the Earth's orbit, now you might just know this as a fun factoid, but the radius of the orbit, not the radius of the Earth, I had a kid try to tell me I was crazy a couple years ago, is 93 million miles. Right? That definitely could not be the size of the Earth. That would be a little crazy. How far does the Earth travel in one orbit? And then I want you to extend this a little further. Because this is where math is like, oh, I wonder, can I calculate this? Well, of course we can. I want you to find out not only how fast is the Earth traveling, like in miles per, well, what? So one orbit. When the Earth orbits the sun, what is that?
The circumference.
No, but what has happened when the Earth has orbited the sun?
Year.
A year, right? So how many miles in a year? How many miles in a day? How many miles in a hour?
Oh, no.
And then how many miles in a minute and a second?
Oh no.
We want to list all of the... Now, once we have one of the calculations, the other one should always be punch it in the calculator, make it do it for you. So I don't know why we're saying, oh,
so wait,
no.
Year, day, hour, minute, second?
Pretty much all the units of time that we talk about.
Well, weeks.
I mean, you could do month and week also. If you want.
Latin. Don't forget my ideology.
I know.
It doesn't matter if the Earth is flat. It still orbits the sun.
Wait, no.
And
the
please
sun
don't
is-
even speak.
orbits the Earth.
And please don't please speak that silliness in my classroom. That's just silly. You know, flat earthers have nothing to fear but sphere itself.
Yeah, they I saw this today where it's like,
No, have you heard that joke before?
no, but
You need to take a moment to appreciate it.
That's why I
Flat
said,
earthers have nothing to fear but sphere itself.
You know, I do this thing when I'm bored. I like to
Okay,
make myself...
David is just totally in a
No,
mood.
it matches. No, like, I do this thing. I make myself mad. So I watch videos of anti-vaxxers and, like, flat earthers trying to justify themselves.
Did you watch the thing about the guy who shot himself in a homemade rocket, like, up into the whatever layer to try to see that the Earth was flat? To try to take a picture of the edge? And my hope was just that, well, this is bad, well, whatever. I'm recording myself, and I hate when I say things like this that is being recorded. My hope was that his rocket would just, like, explode. Right? Now, I shouldn't wish that on somebody because that is dumb, but it actually worked really well. It didn't get him high enough, he says. He had a successful flight, but he did not go high enough to be able to actually see the edge, and therefore is going to need to do it again.
Oh no.
He is still defending. It's not that the Earth is round and he just can't find an edge. It's that he needs to go higher.
He'd actually be a good, like, engineer or something.
I think he's a retired
He's
engineer.
wasting his
He's
time.
just like,
Wasting his time.
just the one thing where he's just really not smart, if you want to say. Like, he's really intelligent, he just believes the Earth is flat.
I make
So
myself
sad.
mad, and then I watch a bunch of videos of scientists debunking them, and I make myself feel what to figure out, like,
Sophia, are you done yet?
Oh, almost. I'm just writing stuff down. I do have to go.
Oh. Wow.
I mean, if you hadn't been talking about flat Earth and had been calculating, it shouldn't take us very long.
Do you want to hear what I got for the seconds? It's the last thing we'll figure out anyway.
okay, great.
So
I'm there, so, and I also accidentally did like a tenth of a second. But
Yeah, I guess. And then what are we trying to figure out after the year? Okay.
day, hour, minute, second.
okay, wait. I'm gonna figure out the other ones too.
What other ones?
Like month and week.
How many days?
So how far does it travel in a year?
Wait,
You can give it to me.
584,36,233.6.
Oh, you did
Alright.
584 million miles in a year. Now, the initial like gut reaction is like, well, okay, yeah, that's far, but it's a year. So that's why we then want to push it. Okay, so per day,
Per day.
if we divide by 365,
It's 1,600,919.
hold on, 1,600,000,
900.
like just 600.
Yeah, per second.
919.
I got
836.
Wait, I got the same
I-
answer.
I
Which
did.
means
You got the same answer. That's a good thing.
I'm right.
All my answers in
So are we traveling 18.5 to 1?
So then, hold up, hour.
Well, if you round it, it'd be 920.
Okay, so whatever. I'm not going to change my. Yes, if we round, we can make it 920. So then, hour divide by 24.
It'd be 66,000.
66,000.
Wait.
704.99.
Okay. As much as you think I can listen to multiple things at once. Sorry, what was it?
Okay. 66,705.
Is that not what you got, David?
For the day, that's not what I got.
Ah,
But
you
I got the
got
same
one.
hour for some reason.
Did I?
This can't happen. This isn't true.
I have all my numbers in but I got a long decimal for both of those, so.
Yeah, I know, I
2
just had that.
times 93, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zeros times pi. 584, 336, 233.6.
Yeah,
Divided by 365.
I got.
1600921.
I got
It should be
2 1.
666.
So if this is 2-1, oh my gosh, you guys are particular.
I got 2.
Divided by 24,
It should be 666.
66705.
Yeah.
this- yeah,
So,
that's fine.
do you,
This is,
I'm just saying.
it's because rounding.
Do you want me to tell you?
It corrects itself back out. Then, per minute,
It's 1,111 point a bunch of decimals, but I don't think you want me to tell you those.
Yeah, 1,112.
so then per second,
18.53-ish. So while we're talking about this, we've gone like at least 100 miles.
yeah. Like,
Wait, that.
so,
That
hold
makes
on,
sense.
hold on. Shh, stop. 1, 2, 3, 4. We just went 100 miles.
Okay, great.
Okay, Pouty Pete, what you want?
That's all right. Okay, so we travel 1,111 miles, 11.75 miles in a minute, and yet we only travel 60.
That's
Multiply
in
by
an
60.
hour.
Yeah, that's in an hour.
I think you're overthinking.
Dividing by 365 got us to the day. Then dividing by 24 got us to the hour. Then dividing by 60 got us to the minute. Then dividing by 60 got us to the
Are
second.
you doing the weeks and months?
What was that? Athena?
Just times the days by.
Did you have something? No.
It's a leap year, though.
Oh, it is a leap year, though.
So, do we want to do it for leap year?
Wait, is it a leap year?
Yeah,
it's a leap year.
It's 29 days in February.
Crap, I have to make sure I made my Rockwell schedule correct.
It's there's
What? Just I'm thinking about it.
28th.
So how many days are there supposed to be?
Wait, I'm gonna.
This
Oh yeah, I have a 29th in February. I guess I just forgot that that day existed.
Because it's a multiple of 4. Should
Yeah,
I
I do it
should I do how long we're traveling this year because it's different?
No, we're not gonna recalculate this.
No, please.
Okay, well, there are actually 365 and 1/4 days.
Right, technically,
So-
yes.
Did I do something?
But you know, who wants to be correct in math?
So, all of that math doesn't really matter because we're just, hurling through space at a crazy speed that we'll never be able to truly appreciate. Although if you watch any other, like space movies, like Interstellar or whatever else, just imagine that. Like, if you weren't in the orbit of Earth, like if you weren't stuck in the gravitational pull of Earth, so your space shuttle has gotten out of the Earth orbit and you're floating in space.
Oh, then Earth would be like.
Earth is like running away from you, like fast. If you can really perceive, So I forget what movie it is where Julia Roberts is just like floating in space and like she can't. There's nothing around, and it's scary because it's like silent and dark and like freaks me out to think about it. But like seriously, imagine like Earth is there, you can see it, but it's like running away from you extremely fast. Now the only thing you have to wait on, just wait a year, right? It'll come back around and just stay there. Yeah.
Can you go back?
No.
Please. No.
Something's
please.
not right.
Please. Don't go down.
Why is it bugging you so much?
Now you're asking me way too many questions. Did you do this in pi? Or did you use 3.14? Because I used pi.
I did 3.1415.
Wait.
I did pi, so that's probably why we got
Something's not right. So when I multiply 1,111, like blah blah blah, like when I
Oh, it's because we're rounded now. Why are you saying you're doing something wrong? You're fine. You're off by 2 decimal places.
Well, 66705 and then 6667.
It's a rounding issue. Because you also don't have 5, 8, 4. Oh, your number up here is totally different. Why'd you divide by 24 there?
That was all a mistake.
Well, then how do you have that number? That number's wrong.
Yeah, that's why I started here. Like started again from here, right?
But that number is wrong, so this number is wrong.
But I never used this number.
Yes, you did, because it's right there. A and S pulls the previous answer. This is wrong, making every answer after it wrong.
That's annoying.
This is not right. Like, why do you have that written down? You're getting annoyed at yourself because literally the first number you used is wrong.
Well, thank you
If
for
we
that.
go back
insight.
to it,
Now I know what
second
I did.
entry, second entry, second entry. You did that times pi. So you did 93 million. You just do not have enough decimal places, man.
Okay,
If
sure.
we add on, no, seriously, what do you mean? Okay, sure.
Wait, that means I'm agreeing.
3.14159,
Yeah.
right? Will get you a totally different answer.
Well, that's because it's not such a big number.
I know.
Okay, I get it.
So don't round. Like you were mad at me and you made us go back because you
I wasn't
rounded a
mad at you
value.
guys. I was mad that why I couldn't figure out the answer. Now I know the answer.
Dude, we're multiplying by hundreds of millions.
I get it.
You have to respect the decimal places.
I respect them now. But not before now.
Can we go into the next problem?
If I'm speaking my truth, I am frustrated that you couldn't figure that out on your own. That by rounding, you will be off substantially. If given the opportunity, use precise pi. Use the pi button. So to make the reminder, your calculator has pi built in as the second function of the caret.
It's actually kind of because it rounds the 3 to a 4 at the end.
That's just when it displays it.
3.14159.654.
I think it has more places of that. It's just how many it can display. Alright, are we allowed to move on now?
Yeah.
You sure?
I just wanted to figure out the answer.
Now I'm just giving you a hard time.
I figured out the actual amount, so with the correct decimals for the amount in a second.
To the quarter of a day.
My question
Yes,
we
yeah,
just
so
put this in Google.
and rather than rounding that, I used actual pi, and it's actually 300ths of a mile shorter. So
Oh, darn. That 300ths of a mile is going to make a big difference. Alright, so I was going to spin this into a much more difficult problem of how many times would your wiper have to wipe to go the distance of the Earth. But we may not have time for that now. So, the first question we want to answer, we haven't done this, so I'm curious if you guys will be able to solve this quickly. How do we find the area that your wiper wipes when it doesn't actually wipe all the way back to the center of the circle? So if you've ever watched a wiper on your car, it's a straight blade that comes up and wipes part of your windshield, but it doesn't just pivot the blade. It comes from a point and leaves a center part right here open, because that is where the wipers actually cross over each other when they lay down and then come up. That middle part allows it to act how it needs to. So, I don't want to say anything else aside from here's your information. You have everything you need to solve the area of that sector. Yes.
Wouldn't you just like find the area like?
You're not asking
of
me,
the-
you're talking to them.
Wouldn't you just find the area of the whole like big thing, like disregard the addendum, like the small area, and subtract the small area?
So wait, is a swing defined as
What's
like
none?
just one way or like a back and forth?
Just the area of the shaded region.
Oh.
So just like one way. Then, if we calculate the arc of it, we could then calculate how many arcs it would take to travel the distance the Earth does in a year.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Then, if I get really evil, or not really evil, maniacal, I guess is probably the better word, I could tell you the rate at which wipers wipe, and we could see how long you'd have to have your wipers wiping to be able to. But we could.
Not even.
Anyone else like to Reddit? They did the math.
Reddit, they did the math.
If you're on Reddit, you should sub. They
I
did the math.
go on Reddit to look at memes.
Okay, we'll ignore the memes. Go on Reddit and get memes.
Did you just
Memes.
say-
That's what some seventh graders call memes.
You call them memes?
Some of them do. I just do what they do. All right, solve the problem, David. Quit being off task because you're getting me off task.
Oh, you scared me. I thought you told me to
Oh,
solve
I have
the
an
problem.
answer.
Yes, solve it.
No, like I thought you meant like only
Yeah.
your
Why
house
are you
got bigger.
breaking your pen?
Because it's fun. You don't take things apart just because.
No.
I do.
I think it's one of those. This is one of those things where I think I would have probably been diagnosed with who knows what, but when I was a kid, which now I've just like learned to manage things. But I bet if I was a kid these days, my parents would take me to a doctor and they would put some labels on me. What? Just say like
Troubled child.
no, you know, like ADD or ADHD or like inattentive disorder, different things like that. Like I was always like, if I have something in my hands, I'm probably gonna take it apart.
Wow. Nobody has
I know, like if I get bored, I'm trying to take
calculator.
something apart and put it back together just to see how it works. But like, I'm not gonna like, if something's in my hand, I'm not gonna try and take it apart. Like,
Oh, I'm trying to see if you can take a T out of it. You can take the faceplate off of that.
See, in social studies, when I'm surrounded by people,
You know how to.
I'm gonna take it. Okay. Okay, good.
Sorry, I'm very excited. If you pry up on this part, you can take the front faceplate off and replace it with it.
That worked for people. Mr. Hudson, me and
Does that work for
what?
what?
That worked for people too.
The front face?
Yes. Take that part off and
Replace it with an upgraded version.
Mr. Hudson.
Now, there are two routes you can take to solve this problem. Two good routes. There's probably more than that. Yes, question?
Well, me and Leanne agree.
So, David, since you want to solve this problem and you said you're so excited,
I'm not. No, wait.
if we treated this.
You don't choose the two students. You have an answer.
It's because he likes you so much. He wants
Okay, let's
to
do
make sure
this.
you have a good answer.
Okay, we do the formula, right?
What is the radius of the entire circle that doesn't exist here?
The radius of the
20, right? So, if we work in terms of pi, we get that 400 pi would be the whole circle radius
wait,
of the whole thing.
wait,
Sorry,
the area?
area. Yes, not radius. So my brain was still thinking this is our radius. So then, how much of the circle is this region?
Just give it
1/3.
Third of it, right?
1/3.
Because it's 120.
So divide by 3. Do not calculate things you don't have to calculate. We could still just be like working in terms of pi.
Okay.
So then, the region in here, again, would be easiest to talk about if we think about the whole circle. So that would be pi times what's its radius?
25.
Yeah, pi times 5 squared, so 25 pi. So we'll get, I might as well just write it over here. Then it's still a third of it. And then we subtract. So we do 400
Minus.
thirds pi
We can just get rid of the third.
minus 25 thirds
Which is what?
pi,
375 higher.
375 thirds.
And that's a nice number.
Wow, look at that.
And when you do the
Mr.
math,
Hudson
it's
should
like
use the call
125
the one.
It's
3, 2.
195 higher, 392.7 inches squared.
Someone figure it out.
392.7 inches squared.
How many feet is that?
That's a big area.
Big area.
Like 32 feet.
It's pretty close to 100 pi, right? I mean,
It's 125.
yeah, 125 pi. So actually, we could just, if we wanted to write it in terms of pi, we could just write 125 pi. Inches squared, of course. Question?
I think we
Well,
get it.
because, Darwinism. Darwinism is the survival of the fittest and smartest and best capable to survive, essentially. So, someone who believes the earth is flat and there's an edge that people could fall off of, I feel as if Darwinism should take care of them. I used to wonder why my high school physics teacher would say things like that, and now I get it. After living in the
Would that actually
world,
work with anti-vaxxers? Think about it.
Yeah,
You have a higher chance of dying if you don't vaccinate your child. So.
Alright, so this past
They
weekend,
are dropping like flies.
this past weekend, not joking, this past weekend, my wife and her friend Jess tried to make macarons. Now, it is very difficult. There was lots of smacking of pans and some dropping of bad words, and not macarons at the end of the day.
Wait, you
There were cookie type things and delicious type things, but they were not macarons.
macarons are hard to make.
They're very hard to make.
They're very particular.
It's the foot. Apparently there's a foot. I learned that. There's a foot on your macaron. So, with baking, we often think about, like, what's the most efficient way to do this? How many sheet pans do I need? How close can I put my cookies? What space is wasted? Yada, yada, yada.
Like a cookie dough and just like throw it in the oven.
I mean, you can. It's not a very Phoenix mentality of making cookies. Like, learn and grow.
You learn about how to get the cookie dough out of the thing, and then you learn how to put it in.
It's like a sheet of dough.
Yeah. Like, I thought mathematicians were like, take the easy route if you can, if it gets the same answer as the hard route. That's what, like,
It's not the same answer.
Not
I can
either.
give you a Chips Ahoy, like whatever I bought some dough and baked it, versus my mom's homemade chocolate chip cookies, and I guarantee it's not the same answer.
Well, of course, but then, like, when you took your mom's cookie dough, I didn't make the cookie dough. You gave me your mom's cookie dough, and I threw it in the oven.
You could be doing math instead of already doing cookies.
No.
Can you? I want some cookies.
I smell cookies. I think it's just because I'm hungry.
How about if we do the math we're supposed to do, I give you all cookies.
Ooh, yeah. I'll be that.
I'm not joking.
I'll take you up
Let's
on that.
finish our lesson.
Bet.
I have cookies here.
Let's do
Bet.
it.
I have cookies.
I'll take you up on that offer.
I will air pound the rock. You don't need my handshake.
I don't
promise.
need the
I
rock.
promise you.
Okay, so.
So the sheet pan is 12 inches wide. Doesn't really matter how long it is. The cookies are 3-inch diameter. We want to know how much cookie dough is wasted if we take the easy route and we have this cookie dough being rolled out by a sheeter, which is a machine in a kitchen that literally turns dough into sheets and then it punches these cookies out. Well, they know that your generation wants to complain about making cookies and they want it done for them.
Well,
So nope, you got us here. This factory is going to accommodate to you and just punch out individual cookies ready to pop in the oven, and they will be in your store ready to purchase. But this space in here is dough that's wasted, right? Shh, it's a machine. They haven't figured that out yet. So this part, and actually this would still be a question of, well, how many more cookies will get made from the leftover dough? Like, it's still a question that needs answered. How can, if it's 12 inches wide, like the sheeter, the machine is 12 inches wide, it will make as long of a sheet as you get it dough to do. So that's why we don't know how long it's going to be.
It says it's a square.
Mm,
Shape of a square.
shape of a square, 12 inches wide, but it's not actually square. I mean, you can imagine that it is, that's fine, but at some point you'd have to stop the rectangle. So I think they're just trying to make your math easy by calling it a square. You can call it a square. It's fine. Yeah, I'm just trying to be realistic. The sheeter wouldn't make a perfect square. Like, that just wouldn't happen. So if it was a square, and these are 3 inches wide,
So shouldn't we find the area of a cookie and
Yeah, find the area of a cookie, find the area of a square, find out of the area of the cookies and subtract the area of
so what's the area of the square?
12 by something.
12 by 12. If we make it a square, we're going to say square.
easier?
We said we can imagine it as a square.
Alright, my cookie
minus
area of cookies.
all I think of is Cookie Monster.
Okay, so area is pi r squared.
You're gonna pull something else out of that cabinet.
He's gonna pull another pizza out of
I think it's cookies.
Did you like not believe him?
These what? These what? Are they not good enough?
No.
Are you allergic to them or something? Those what? They're from that panel. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, 144 minus 18 pi.
That's why I don't just normally keep cookies here, but
Look at these pre-made cookies.
see, these are not Kathy Hudson's homemade cookies. I will tell you
No,
that.
these are not the best.
I like the chewy ones better than the cookies.
I wish I could.
Wait, you got two ways?
Wish I had some. No, I'll have it.
Thank you for the cookie.
You're welcome.
Right here.
We do so many problems about food that I can't give you. When in this moment I realize, oh, I have cookies. Might as well give you cookies.
One day we need to try your wine, and then I will make the decision.
Oh, crap. Our radius is 1.5. That's annoying.
Not really.
Well, because this becomes 2.25 times pi.
Wait, I don't think I did that right.
What?
I did minus 16.
You told me.
16 cookies. No, that's not
It's
the whole
because it's 12 by 12. It's gonna be 16 cookies.
If it's a square.
Oh.
Look, this isn't a trick. You guys just aren't reading carefully.
I
We're almost out of time, too.
have the
No, we're not. I keep trying to do that on Fridays. Because it's a different, I have you at a different time of day. We have another 12 minutes. We have 12:30.
It's 30
Oh, my progress.
You guys know, if we're being honest, I'm a sucker because we didn't even do this problem. I gave you cookies.
Okay.
We're not even done. There are 16 cookies if it's a square. All right, pi times 1.5 squared, the area of each cookie. So we really will need to get that as a decimal answer. I have a calculator, but I set it down somewhere.
I got 7.06.
What the heck?
No, that's just for the inside of it. 7.068. Times 6.
So I know what the thing is.
What did you get?
For the cookie part.
I got it.
I got 30.
Yeah.
30.
Did you get
39. 0.266.
that much dough out of, right? If the sheeter made a square, it's out of 144, right?
Just some confusion.
What percent of dough is that? Right, so if we divide that by 144,
21.
that's 21% of the dough.
About a fifth of the dough.
So they hire Sammy. Because Sammy is like, look, your efficiency sucks, guys. You need some help.
Terrible.
So Sammy walks in and goes, look, what was the suggestion you had?
That you use the dough that's got punched out that you're not using and put it back through.
So they decide, okay, we'll go with Sammy's idea. And I know this is going to be an easy question. How many sheets will they need the wasted dough in order to make a whole another sheet?
Like how many sheets they'll need and use all that wasted dough to make another sheet?
Another full sheet.
Oh.
Well, if we waste 21% of the sheet, each sheet, how many? Ooh, will 4 get a whole sheet?
4.76.
So we'll need 5 runs.
Yeah, I know, but I thought you were talking about 4 more, including the
Oh, 4 more. Yeah, more. So we will need to run this 4 more times. So this times 5 would
You'll
get
still
us
have a little bit left over.
a
but you'll
little
have-
extra. So like we said, it's not going to really be a square, right? So it'll just be a little bit more than a square in that case.
When you make the new one. When you make the new
And then
You'll have more.
of this, morning guys, of this new sheet that you make, we're still going to waste 21% of that new sheet
But
of
you're not technically wasting it.
if we recycle it back around. Now, if we don't though,
then you
21% of every sheet we make, guys, that's like 21% of the money you just spent to make that stuff going right in the trash. Right? So this is what factories, especially automated situations, have to think about is like, what little bits of waste could we reuse? And actually, funny enough, I bought these shoes because they look like a climbing rope that I have, but and they're comfortable. But the rope I bought, literally a climbing rope I bought, is all of the scraps from other runs of ropes, because that's what that factory does. The chalk bag that I use is leftover tent pieces, like fabric from tent. So factories all over, like jobs you might have someday in engineering or efficiency or whatever you decide to go into, might deal with how do we use the waste, right? How do you use your waste?
I thought like when y'all were working in a factory.
If you made like another square, like what would be wasted then? If you made something that
Like out of this. So yeah, if we turn to the 21%.
30.9 inches squared and you made another one, why not?
Well, so if we rolled all this back up and just put that through the sheeter and made it a square, how big of a square could we make?
Why not make square cookies?
So we can't even get 2 more cookies out of that.
Yeah, I know, but you could.
Why can't you make square cookies?
You could get one
Why
more.
not you just make a
What
square
happens
cookie?
if they put like something through, but it's not a perfect square, so then they get like a half?
Yeah, but then you're
But
not.
that
That's,
also
that's where
counts as
real
waste.
life doesn't work
If you
perfectly.
make square cookies, then
square
customers think you're scamming them. But then if you make circle cookies, then you actually are scamming them.
No one makes square cookies because they don't bake well.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
then
The corners bake a lot more.
Cut off the
Yeah,
corner.
like more
Cut off the corners.
The heat literally, like, and same thing with pizza, like we were talking about yesterday, the heat through a circle works better than a heat through a pointed object. Any polygon, really.
because the corners will be all like burned.
Yeah. Like, have you ever made Christmas cookies and you, like, make trees or whatever, and, like, the corners are harder than the middle of the cookie is, like, softer?
What about
That's
like the
why.
cookies you buy that are shaped? They're not like
circle.
like
Well,
Christmas tree cookies.
Well, I think they're talking about the ones that are in a roll and you cut them and you just... Okay, can we do math? I gave you cookies, let's do math. So-
You got paid.
You did get paid.
You got paid.
You got more than any of my other students. Actually, I committed that I was going to give them candy for Valentine's Day, and still haven't, because on Monday they were greedy, and they told me I owed them candy, and I told them to get over it. So, I'm nicer to you guys than I am to my other classes.
Well, that's also
You never
because
asked
five
them.
of us,
You are correct. There's
give
only
us
5 of you.
something that's like it's not gonna be like a lot.
Mr. Hudson would have lost his
All right.
pack of cookies if he gave it to his other class.
Yes.
If you run the remainder through, then you'd waste 77%.
Of that sheet. Now, what if you run that remainder back to? Okay, thank you for getting us back on the math. So we're headed to doing unit circle work, which is a huge thing for Math 3. Guys, I was just tutoring a Math 3 student the other night. Unit circle is huge. So this is why we're doing all of like this circle work, is to get to a really heavy, important topic in math, which is the unit circle. So what is the radian measure of a 45-degree central angle for a circle with 5 centimeters? Now, radian measure is the arc length of the circumference. So a radian measure is talking about a curved distance because it can't measure linearly, but if you laid it in a straight line, you could, right? So when we think about circles,
Is it a sector or
it is the arc length. Yes, it's the arc length. So radian, like whenever you hear radian, you're thinking arc length.
So does that have anything to do with the setting on the calculator?
Yes, that is where radians come from. Now, to tell you,
You got a heart attack from that?
Yeah, well,
pi over 3.
Pi over 3. That's fine.
Pi over 3. What the nine? I don't know what the heck you guys are. What dank memes those came from.
It's just David.
If you hold up, actually, let's jump off this track for a second. Let's get on a different train.
Like like, oh, jump
If you
off the
imagine,
track.
Yeah, jump off the
It's
street.
like we were meant to.
It's the next
So
one.
like, we're jumping
jump
off
off
the
the
track,
train
and then we're
and
jumping back on a different train.
That's
yeah, you gotta jump off the track and get on the train.
so it's a train getting on another train.
What is it?
Because we're getting off a track, so we're a train, and we just got on
If-
another train.
If we drew a circle with a radius of 1, this is what we call the unit circle. And I've alluded to this a lot this year. The reason it's called the unit circle is the math is easy to work with because
Circumference of
area is pi r squared, right? So here, that's pi times 1 squared, so it's pi. Circumference, though, is 2 pi r, right? So circumference ends up being 2 pi. Because it's either pi d or 2 pi r.
Oh.
So this is 2 times the radius to make the diameter, right? But we know that I wanted to use 1 because we're talking about the 1. You're early, so just hang out. So when we talk about the unit circle, a whole rotation around is 2 pi. So the area is pi unit squared, and that's also why it's the unit circle, because it is pi, like the space it takes up. Here's what you need to know, as opposed to all the stuff you don't need to know. A pi radian is 180 degrees. A 90-degree angle corresponds to half pi, or pi divided by 2.
Wait.
Because what we're discussing is arc length. So, come with me. Come with me. This rotation all the way around is the circumference.
Yeah.
When we calculate it with a unit circle,
Oh.
it's 2 pi.
Okay.
So the radian value is 2 pi.
So the pi over 3 was the 1
Pi.
of this.
Well, we'll come back to that here like, next week. Hold on. So, this allows us to, when we don't have a radius of 1, we can calculate things, right? Like by multiplying by said radius. So once we get into unit circle, this allows you to like shortcut pretty much any circle math. All you really need to know is pi is equal to 180, manipulate it from there. So if you want pi divided by 3, take 180, divide it by 3.
Wait, we can
So it's going to be 60 degrees.
We're gonna talk more about this, right?
Oh yeah, a lot more about
I
this.
might not remember that.
Yeah, this is next
I might not either.
Okay.